The Sophos Active Adversary Report is based on analyzing hundreds of cases from Sophos Incident Response and Managed Detection and Response. Now, the majority of these cases involve companies with 1,000 employees or less. And what we found was attackers didn't necessarily need to break into the targeted networks anymore. They were just logging in using legitimate stolen credentials. I'm Brittany Deaton, and joining me today is Dave Fore to discuss more. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
As a small business, thinking about your employees' login credentials is probably one of the last things on your mind. Is there a good way to set and forget or set it up so that someone's monitoring for suspicious logins?
Well, set and forget is always a dangerous thing in security, I think, but definitely monitoring is critical. I think that's the key thing you said. And we want to make sure that our customers, the companies out there, are monitoring for successful login attempts and unsuccessful login attempts to make sure they understand where successful ones are happening potentially after business hours. They need to be aware of that, but certainly if somebody's going after guessing passwords and trying to get in, you want to know about that as well. So the key there is just that you have some sort of monitoring setup. And if you're a small business, you're probably not setting up a 24/7 monitoring system yourself. So having a partner with an MDR, managed detection or response service, is really critical to help.
Awesome. Now, exploited vulnerabilities and brute force attacks were the second and third most common root causes among small businesses. So, what does this tell you about adversary motivations or potential end goals?
Really, it tells us that the bad guys are looking for the path of least resistance. They're trying to gain access as quickly as they can. They want to get credentials. They want to look like they belong and live in the environment like they're an actual credentialed user. So that they can hide out and gain the intelligence they need, or exfiltrate the data they want, or set up the ransomware event that they want. So really, it's coming down to them doing whatever they can to get in and stay in as long as they can.
And speaking of ransomware, ransomware does continue to be the number one threat to companies of all sizes, appearing in 65% of Sophos incident response cases, and even higher, around 70% for small businesses. So, what's some good, just overall blanket advice to give to small businesses who are probably looking to defend against ransomware?
Well, I think definitely everybody's looking to defend against ransomware. We've all seen news stories. The number one thing you can do is have a very strong endpoint protection solution that specifically has anti-ransomware technology. Ransomware technologies and tactics and procedures by the bad guys change all the time. They're always adapting, and we have to continue to adapt on the defense side of things. So having a strong endpoint protection, but then I refer back to what we talked about in the first question, which is MDR, having monitoring, looking for indicators of a potential future ransomware event is really, really critical. And then, the last thing is investing in a strong backup program. You've got to be able to have some ability to recover in the unfortunate instance that you do get compromised.
Some of the most active ransomware groups this year, such as LockBit and Akira, were also ones that were targets of law enforcement disruption in the past year or so. So, how have these groups been able to survive despite the takedowns of servers, unmasking leaders, etc.?
In a lot of cases, the head hasn't been chopped off. Physical arrests aren't necessarily taking place. Some of the folks, particularly I know in LockBit, are hiding out in Russia, and they're not taken down, and they have armies of affiliates underneath them that are the next ones. It's like the next guy up, and there's always a new group looking to emerge. And if one gets taken down or hampered, even LockBit has vowed to return. Like they're saying they're going to come back. So. We can keep taking down the minions. There's just going to be more minions, and it's a constant battle that we're all a part of, and we're going to keep having to fight that fight and knock down whoever the aspiring new bad guys are.
Dave, this was really helpful. Folks, if you want to learn more about the tactics and malware threat actors are using most often in the wild, go ahead, check out our active adversary report here. Thanks.
Thank you.